Hi everyone, welcome to the Nostalgic Dragon. Today I'm going to give you a review on the return of the Crimson Guard by Ian C Esslemont. He's a co-creator of the Malazan world together with Steven Erikson. This is part of a number of books called A Novel of the Malazan Empire. As you know, there are 10 books written by Steven Erikson called the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and those 10 books communicates with the books of Ian C Esslemont. However, it's not a spin-off. Ian C's books are his own product, and they tell a different story, and it's another kind of writing. I will come back to that later in the review. First of all, I will say I really enjoyed the book. It's highly rewarding if you like or even love the Malazan Book of the Fallen and the Malazan lore and universe, because you will get to know more things. This book is the second book, or the second novel. There are more written by Ian C Esslemont. The first one, Night of Knives, by by the same author, of course, is shorter. So Crimson Guard looks like a Malazan book in the meaning of the number of pages, 1,000 pages. I felt that Night of Knives was a bit rushed, although good and very interesting take on the world, because Night of Knives took place during one night. That's not the case with the Return of the Crimson Guard. It has more of a traditional Malazan feel. Many continents, many people, a lot of things are happening in the book. We are more specifically on the continent of Hali. It's the central Malazan Empire. You can see it like this. It's a big continent, and there's a lot of things taking place here. We get to know and explore different places on Kwantali. The city of Liheng, a very impressive city, impressive defensive walls and a structure, and we get to know people in Liheng. We also get to know Korn, another city. We also can hear and read about the names that remind ourselves of Gardens of the Moon, like Itko-Khan, the village or city of Itko-Khan, which is mentioned in Gardens of the Moon. We get to know the countryside of Kwantali. Countryside sounds very nice. It can be, but in the Malazan book, countryside is often desolate and maybe quite brutal environment. And there we meet a lot of tribes, of course. City tribes, weekend tribes, for example, in this book. We will learn more about central characters, like from Malazan Book of the Fallen, like Kalar, Lassine, Teishren. Teishren is also in Night of Knives. There are also characters that moves on from Night of Knives, even if it's Kiska. She's one of the main characters in Night of Knives, even if she is not so prominent in the second book here by Ian C. She plays an interesting role, you could say. We will also learn more about the Malazan concepts, such as warrens, deck of dragons, the houses, and the world. Steven Erikson writes more in a philosophical manner, I would say. It's more introspection. For example, when we talk about the warrens, but here we get to see the warrens from the outside. How does it look like when one connects to a warren, when you channel power through a warren? How do people react on Deck of Dragons when they are when people get to sit in a room with someone who can use the deck of dragons on you. Deck of dragon is a tarot card game, or not game, it's a tarot card that has immense effects on the people in the Malazan world. It regulates, you could say, powers between people, ascendants, gods, and these houses are very central to the overarching story in the Malazan world. But in this book, we will get to understand how ordinary people react to this tarot card game if they're in it, or someone uses the card to predict the future, for example. People here in Crimson Guard are ordinary people. They swear and they react. They don't talk so elegant. They are not so noble in their language, for example. That makes them feel really, really trustworthy, I would say. And we also, of course, explore the world a lot more in this book. We are not only on Pontali. We are on a sail, for example, and we are on the in Stratton. You will find out for yourself what these parts of the Malazan world, where they are and what they, how it is there. We will get to know a lot of the environment. I mean, nature and such things, different kind of nature, and I think Ian C discusses and describes that well. If we look at the plot itself, this is about the Crimson Guard, of course. They, to make it simple, they oppose or put their purpose of life on is to oppose the Malazan Empire, or actually crush it. And they are a mercenary band. I think band is a mercenary army, I would say. And they appear in all the Malazan books, more or less. And here we get an in-depth description about their purpose and their soldiers, for example, how they feel, how they live, what they do. And they also have a cool symbol, and it's a silver dragon on over a red field. And since this is the nostalgic dragon, dragons are cool, I think. So I just wanted to highlight that. The book is basically a story about rebellion, resistance, civil war, and it's a lot of battles. Ian C Esslemont is action focused. He writes quick. It's a lot of fights, a lot of witty dialogue, I would say, humorous dialogue. We have individual fights here. We have squad fights. We have army fights, battles, war and battles. A lot of battles which are connected to the Warrens, and that is really, really cool. We have themes of loyalty, brotherhood, war, loss. It's tragedy. It's a tragedy. This is a tragic story in many ways. And as always in the Malazan books, we get to know the many point of view characters and their struggles. I think that's one of the benefits with reading Malazan. You get to know the people here. You get to learn a lot about the human condition. And surprisingly, maybe when it comes to fantasy, these books, all books by both Stephen and Ian C, they feel extremely relevant in our time. They somehow comment on the world we live in, and have lived in for thousands of years back. That is something really special that makes this different from, I would say, other fantasy books. Not all of other fantasy books, but many fantasy books, which are not so deep. Still, if you thought that Stephen Erickson is too deep, that he muses too much on philosophy and spirituality, this is an easy read for you and probably more entertaining. I would describe Crimson Guard as an entertaining book too. It's dark, but it's not grim dark. It's dark in a good way, I would say. And there are, as I said, many characters. I will mention a few of them that I really enjoyed. That first one is Kyle. he becomes a member of the Crimson Guard, and there is a specific, I'm not sure, a specific group that are avowed. They have made a vow to the cause of the Crimson Guard. And in a way, I think Kyle represents us readers. He feels like an ordinary fantasy character, like, you know, a boy or girl who goes out into the world not knowing so much, but then becomes part of a good adventure. I think he's one of that kind of characters in this book. We have Eriko and Traveler, which are two very interesting people. They have a greater cause, and they remind me of Mappo and Icarium in Dead House Gates. I think their names are great, especially Traveler. Even if the writing of Ian C is not as deep as Stephen Erickson, the way he uses names says a lot. And just using names in different ways can deepen a story. You don't need to write about what people are thinking all the time, like introspection. We also get to know different mages, like Li Heng's mage, Li Heng mage Ho, for example. So I'll look in the book a bit. There are many characters. Of course, we have Malik Rel. We have a Possum here, Master of the Claw. We also have Hurl. Yeah, Hurl she's an interesting character, to say the least. We have, of course, Neil and Nether from Wiccans. If you've read the other Malazan book, you know more about them, but it's an interesting couple of people, those two. Ho, as I mentioned, and then we get to know a lot of other people as well, so I won't spoil anything. Cool names like Stalker, Badlands, I like that. And actually, this book is connected to the pantheon of the Malazan world, so we get to know or read about many of the gods as well. And of course, like in the Iliad or the Odyssey, the gods intervene or try to intervene in different ways. So I would say this book has everything a classic, you could say, Malazan book has. So it's a battle with armies. You have the deck of dragons. You have the warrens. You have less of philosophical musings, as I've already told you, and that makes the book quicker. I've read it during this autumn. I really liked it, and I would continue with Ian C Esslemont's next book, and that is Stone Wielder. I will try to finish all his novels as quickly as I can. It can take a while, as you know, because I'm reading for enjoyment. The other books in the novels of the Malazan Empire I have over here, so I will just show them for you if you haven't seen them. So we have the Orb Scepter Throne, looks like this. Hope you can see that. We also have a sail. I like the covers. Maybe you do that too. I'm not sure. And we have a Blood and Bone here. So there is a lot to read, and I'm also rereading the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So I have a lot to do, obviously, and I like it. So to sum it up, this is a great book. You get to focus on one continent, more specifically Quantali. You get to get a good feel for the ordinary citizen in the Malazan world. It's not so noble. They don't speak so noble. They are very, you could say, impolite. There's a lot of entertainment, a lot of action. It's actually a lot of horror, Stephen Kingish in a way, I would say. So I would really recommend you to read this book, but please beware and please take note that Ian C Esslemont and Stephen Erickson are two different authors. They are very, very aware of that, and you should treat it like that too. This is a good Malazan story in the Malazan world, and faster, quicker. It doesn't mean it's better. I like Stephen Erickson as well, as you know, a lot. So this is just another take another voice in the Malazan world. So if you have read the book, please comment without spoiling what was your thoughts on the book. One thing I would like to add here in the end is that it's a lot of battle scenes, and I think maybe a third of the book are battle scenes in different ways, maybe more. Sometimes these battle scenes can be a bit confusing. I suppose that's how war is, and I think that is what Ian C Esslemont tries to portray, but I hope that won't discourage you from reading through the book, but you really feel the chaos of war, and as you as a reader are sometimes confused as well. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was fun, but of course that can be something that puts some people off to read this kind of book. But obviously, if we look at it from a realistic standpoint, war is confusing and it's very brutal. With those not so positive words, I hope you will enjoy your day, and I hope you will continue to watch this channel. We are growing. If you like it, please subscribe, like of course as well. If you have some thoughts on what I'm going to what you want me to talk about, please write that in the comment field below, or you can contact me on Blue Sky. I have the account name The Nostalgic Dragon, and also on X. You will find me there as well. So until next time, have a great day. Bye.